What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Rice Rocketeer. Guys, today I am out here at Mineola Moto yet again. If you are subscribed to me, you know I'm a frequent flyer at this dealership. I'm sitting in a slingshot, but don't worry, I'm not doing another slingshot review. I'm just chilling here because I have exhausted all the sales reps at Mineola Moto. Shout out to Jim, shout out to Mike, shout out to everybody who's put up with me. Guys, I'm here waiting because I just dropped off my Indian Scout Rogue for the first service, the 500-mile service. I bought this bike about a month ago from Kenny over here, and I've been slowly getting to know the bike. I did a part one of this video, which is me just riding out here. It's kind of a chill cruise out here. More bike footage is good bike footage, so if you're considering buying the Indian Scout Rogue, make sure to check out that video to just see how it rides. And then today is going to be more of not a spec-based video, not a comparison or 0 to 60 video, none of that. This is just my first impressions, what I think of the bike, what I like, what I don't like, my thoughts. But before I get into that, guys, I really want to give you some context. If you're not subscribed to me, if you don't know much about me, I want to give you a brief rundown of the bikes that I have owned, kind of what I've come to like about those bikes, what I don't like. I'm going to keep it real short, and then we'll jump on the bike once it's done with service, once it's out, ride on home, and I'll tell you all the good details about this bike, so stay tuned. For a bike history, guys, if you're not subscribed to me and you don't know, I made a video about this before, and I'll post a link up here somewhere that goes kind of in-depth, quote-unquote, about each bike that I've had. But very quickly, guys, I started on a BMW G310R. That is a 300cc single cylinder, there we go, motorcycle that I thought was like the bee's knees. I thought it was a super sport for about 2 months, and then I moved on to the Indian FTR. I bought that bike out here at Mineola Moto, which is why I know about this place. 1200cc V-twin in a flat tracker style. So if you don't know what that is, it's like a dirt track that people race around super fast. Their bikes don't have front brakes, super rough. They bump into each other. Really cool to watch, so check it out. This bike, the FTR, was modeled after their 750cc version of the bike, which was the original one. Upright, naked bike sort of ergonomics, low down torque and power of a V-twin cruiser, but also was able to be revved out, and you can enjoy the power band. So love that bike for 1 second. Whew. Little sports distraction. I love that bike for about 8-9 months. I put about 4,000 miles on it. It had a bunch of problems. It had a recall, so I got all that taken care of. And then, unfortunately, it got hit by a truck. I was not on it, don't worry. That was when it was parked. Bike got totaled. And at that point, I was at this kind of like junction. I was like, do I go sport bike because I like revving out the bike? Or do I go cruiser because I like the low down torque of that bike? The FTR was really confusing. And so I ended up going with sport bike because my rationale was I'm still young and I still want this excitement from bikes, so let me go sport bike. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so I decided to get the MT-07, which was like a gentle ease into what I considered a sport bike, which is an inline 4. But it was a Yamaha, and I knew from videos and reviews it looked like a super fun. I wanted to learn how to wheelie, etc. So I bought that bike, great time with it. Got stolen 2 months later, so I didn't have that bike for all that long. That was sad. And then I like rebounded super quick, and I got the Triumph Street Triple R 2020. I bought that used, and I fell in love with sport bikes and really revving out bikes, because that bike you can rev out until 12, 13, 14,000 RPM. And I just like had a blast with that bike for 2 months. And then I ended up working at Triumph Brooklyn. I went in for a service. I ended up getting sucked into working there, and I got a bunch of discounts and all this stuff, and they had a brand new Street 77765 RS in cosmic yellow, and I took the bait. You've seen that bike in almost all my videos over the past year. That is the bike that I've been riding on the daily. Put an awesome exhaust on it, tail tidy, different rear light, all that, and I've loved that bike so much. So that is my primary motorcycle that I have, and then just recently I got bit with the I want to chill out vibe bug, and I decided that I also want a cruiser. Really, it was I've never thought of myself as a 2-bike person, but I just couldn't give up the Street Triple. It's just too good. I use it on the weekends now, and it's super exhilarating. I just couldn't get rid of it, so I decided to get a second bike, and I got the bike that I rode out on today, and that you're about to see in the footage, guys. I have a Indian Scout Rogue, which I absolutely love, and a little bit of what I wanted to talk about, which we'll get into on the ride, though, is the jump from sport bike to cruiser, guys. It really, I'll get into more detail about it, but I didn't start enjoying the Scout the way it's supposed to be enjoyed until the past week. I've had the bike for about 4 weeks. It wasn't until the last week that I really kind of settled into it, and I've enjoyed the hell out of this bike. And it has nothing to do with the bike. It has everything to do with the rider. It has everything to do with the mindset and really understanding how to approach the bike. That sounds very spiritualistic and kind of hokey pokey, but you know, it really is true. Once I think I was thinking of the bike as kind of it's a chill ride, right? Because the ergonomics are different and because the power is delivered differently. Yes, that's absolutely true. Those are the hard facts about the bike. But the key in a chill ride or an excited ride or whatever type of ride is you. And it's the mindset that you bring to the bike. And I really wasn't snapping into the mindset of cruiser. I was still bringing the sport bike mentality over to a cruiser and still trying to rev the bike out, trying to find out where the power band was without going too far because I hadn't hit my 500 mile yet. But I was still bringing that same mentality. When I let that go, my past couple rides where I really just kind of kept it low RPM and just took a deep breath and realized that I'm not going to be racing from point A to point B. I'm here to just enjoy the weather. The ride got way more fun. So that's all I have to say really about the general step from sport bike to cruiser. If you're considering doing the same transition, or if you're deciding on your first bike and you don't know which way to go, just know that whichever bike you have to understand the mentality that you should bring to the bike to get the most out of it. So anyway, that's enough of stagnant talking, guys. I'm gonna go check and see if my bike is ready, and then we're gonna get on the bike and I want to tell you a little bit about what I like, what I don't like, and how it rides. Let's go. See you, Kenny. Bye, Mike. He's busy. Mike is busy. Where is my bike, though? They didn't pull it around front for me. Well, goddamn. Ooh, got some tassels on this bad boy. I think this is me. All right, good to see you, man. Should run a little bit better, guys. I got new oil. How does it feel? How does it feel? Feels nice. Well, alright guys, so this is, let's see. This is kind of my first reaction video, guys. As I said before, I'm coming from sport bikes, so it's a drastically different feel, also drastically different mindset. This bike feels super premium, was my first response to it. Like, everything. It's very stripped down. It doesn't really have much in terms of rider aid or features. It has ABS, but that's about it.
But everything from how the construction of the bike, the materials used, the feel of the shifter when you shift up or down, it's just this really solid like clunk into place. Throttle response is super accurate. It's kind of like, like there's no delay. There's a delay in the delivery of power, but that's not tremendous, and it's really, I think, just the normal transmission time. Transmission time. Nothing odd, nothing stands out. The indicator here, like all the buttons just feel really crisp and clean. Whereas on a lot of bikes, they can feel kind of budget. So for me, immediate reaction, quality. Kind of the same thing that I felt with my Triumph. Triumph is another brand that I just feel is premium. It's just, everything is on point, and you feel like you're getting your money's worth. And that's the best feeling. I will say, when I bought my Yamaha, I guess I got my money's worth because it was an $8,000 motorcycle, and it had $8,000 motorcycle parts. It just didn't feel it felt very machine-y, whereas this doesn't feel like a machine per se. It is, but it doesn't feel like it. It's more so it feels like a real vehicle, with some substance. My big fear for this motorcycle, I'm not used to forwards, so if you haven't ridden with forwards, it's different. You feel so exposed, and like it's just weird, because you wouldn't be in this position on a sport bike. Your sport bike, your legs are tucked right back up under you, and which gives you like a greater sense of control. So I was really nervous about getting something with forward controls, because I just didn't like the idea of being so splayed out. But after a day or two, A, you get used to it, but B, these forwards are not so far out. And I'm short, guys. I'm 5'7", and I have a 30-inch inseam, so not all that much space to play with, but I don't feel too out there. Like, there's a healthy bend in my legs, and if you're any taller than me, then you can imagine you'll probably be like that. I was originally thinking of getting mids, but now I don't really want to. And honestly, being in this position, again, getting in the mindset of cruiser from sport bike, you're not so much squeezing the tank here, which is what you do on a sport bike, but you're more so pushing forward on this, especially when you downshift and you're trying to kind of come to a stop. You're using your brakes. This is your key to keeping stability and control. You don't want to be pushing too much forward on your handlebars, because again, you want your arms to be loose when you're riding on any bike. So your legs here do most of the pushing forward, and also when turning too. Counter steering with your legs as well, kind of. I'm kind of doing both at this point. Like, I lean left when you push left, so it's, and the same goes for the right. So that took a little bit of figuring out, but once I did, I've become quite comfortable in this position. Mini apes, not too high, just shoulder height, which is perfect and varies on the person, but for me, it's for a shorter rider, this has become a very comfortable ride. That was a pretty good lead angle, and I did not scrape the pegs, guys. I've only scraped my pegs once, which was funny enough on the way here after I stopped filming. I went to go get some gas, and it scared the hell out of me because I've never done that before. But you have to lean fairly far. Like, it's not, they don't skimp on the angle, It's like you have a more than enough angle to play with to remain safe. But another one of my worries was that I wasn't going to be able to turn fast enough or lean fast enough, and of course in a hairpin turns it'll be an issue, but for the most part I haven't encountered a road or a turn that I was not able to handle. Very maneuverable, guys. I wouldn't say flickable, but for, compared to my expectations of a cruiser not being able to really be responsive, this bike is certainly responsive. And I have no problem navigating downtown traffic or the highway. I commute on this bike. I use this primarily... Oh, I can go on a... I use this bike primarily to commute into the city, which really, this bike feels comfortable on the highway and roads like this, but you know, that's what it is. And I've had no problems getting through traffic, getting to and from work. It's actually been much more maneuverable in the city than my triple, than a sport bike. And I think it's because I'm lower to the ground. I can put my feet down when I want to, kind of waddle around, you know. Definitely has enough power, has a good amount of torque to get me moving really quickly when I need to. And it's just relaxing. Like, I get to enjoy my rides to work. Not that I didn't before, but on a sport bike, I just always felt like I wasn't getting what you need to from the bike on a commute. It's just not, a street triple is not meant to commute to work. It's meant to hit the track or get on the highway and rev it out. This bike is certainly not meant for commuting. Well, no, it kind of is. More so than the triple, I would say. Alright, let's get on the highway. You guys can check out the acceleration. I will say this bike, as I said in my previous video in the beginning, it is meant to cruise, meant to be in the low RPMs, but the engine is over square, guys. It is meant to be revved out as well. It is more than happy to get up to 8,000 RPM, and, you know, just have a good time. Now I passed my service, I can rev it out. I'm in first gear though, it's not really worth much. Tapping. Well, you'll see some maneuverability, guys. $5,300. Yeah, feels solid as all hell, guys. So this bike is great at cruising. Also has this real burst of power. I talked about this in the last video, guys. I feel like what I've learned so far is that cruisers kind of push you through time and space, whereas my sport bike and sport bikes in general kind of pull you through time and space. It's a different feeling. Like when you give this the full beans, you really feel the power kind of wallop on and push you from behind. It's a great feeling. Totally different emotion, totally different feeling. But this bike has it, but it also can get that pulling feeling from revving it out a little bit. Yeah, what I found is that this bike has a really just solid feel. I did ride a Harley, I think it was like a Street Bob or a Fat Bob. Woo! Can't keep up with that. But the Harley felt, of course, solid, but it felt so clunky and big. Like it just was so cumbersome. And I just rode it around downtown Brooklyn. Like I didn't do anything crazy, any highway riding, but it was just such a pain. It was such a pain to get around the corner. Whereas this feels so nimble and so light. Obviously completely different bikes, and I don't even remember which one I tried, but so it's not a fair comparison. But whatever I rode, whatever Harley I rode, not a fun time. I really did not enjoy that. Whereas this, again, is very maneuverable. You can see I have no problem picking up speed when I want to, or laying off the throttle and just chilling. It's great to have both options, and I feel like if you are in or around the city, do some city riding and some highway riding, this is the perfect in-between, guys. It's like you can do both. You probably wouldn't want to do like a road trip on it. I think you could. I don't think it'd be terrible, but you probably want something different for that if you're going to do like a cross-country trip or something. This would get a little long in the tooth, but for everything else, this bike is perfect. Woo! $5,300. Woo! Feels mean. The attitude comes out at about 5,000. Hate this road. So bumpy. Well, on this note, let's start on the things that I do not enjoy so much about this book. First and foremost, the suspension. The rear suspension, guys. And this is not me wagging my finger, because I don't think this type of cruiser, like a bobber, is supposed to be cushy and plushy. But the back shocks are rough, guys. Like, It's something to take into consideration. Ow, god damn it, right there. Take into consideration if you have a bad back, and or if you are going to have a backpack. If someone's going to be riding back there, guys, it's going to be really rough. You're going to have to really pay attention to the obstacles in the road. I take my girlfriend to work sometimes, and I have to be really mindful of anything in the road. I know the route, so I'm pretty set, and all it takes is slowing down in areas, but anything sudden right here, and unpredictable, it's gonna hurt. Now I know you can upgrade, you can do the Fox shocks in the back, but there's nothing more that I hate than buying something and having someone trying to tell you, hey, in order to enjoy this, you have to spend this amount extra. That's one of the things that I hated about Harley. So a little disappointed with that, but again, it's just what it is, you know. Not angry, just saying. Another thing that actually helps with that I found is, again, just a sport bike, you're kind of like hugging the tank like this, and that's your sense of security. With this bike, you're really, again, using the pegs to push forward, and you're pushing your butt into the back of the seat, and once you stabilize that way, it gives you a bit of a brace. So it's really like, that's one way to deal with it, but there's certain bumps that there's just no way around it. And yeah, you just be mindful of that, be ready for that. The other small, but it's a noteworthy thing, but it's a very small thing, is the mirrors are absolutely atrocious. These drop down mirrors, it's like you really can't see anything. Like on regular size ape hangers, you'd be totally fine, but on these mini apes, like I have to constantly, you'll see me doing this a lot in the videos, have to adjust, which again, maneuverable, and honestly I look over my shoulders anyway, so it's really not the end of the world. But and it's also fixable, like just by other mirrors, so that's cool. But another thing I wish, it definitely, so these mirrors fit the look of the bike, and I guess most people prioritize that anyway, so but just a heads up, they're not the most functional mirrors in my experience. Jesus Christ, let's go. Woohoo! Yeah, second gear, revving that one out, that helps you get up to speed. The third notable thing is that there is no gas gauge on this bike. That is so frustrating. You'll get a low gas, low fuel indicator, but there is no there is no countdown, so to speak. And that, I think, like, for the price point, that is a fair ask. I think that should have been included, no questions asked. Like, why you wouldn't have that? Jesus Christ. I don't know. So that's a big one to me. And really the only big one. The suspension is like forgivable because it's just the style of bike. But the gas thing is like, come on, it's 2024. Like, need that. Don't need it. Would really love it. I don't know how many miles. I get gas anxious or mileage anxious. And like, I don't know how many miles. I've been getting, until the light comes on, I've been getting 80 miles to the gallon. 80 miles to the tank. Which will change after this service. So we'll see. But yeah, I would really like the addition of that somehow. And then the last thing of note that I have, guys, and this is with every bike, so this is really just, I don't even know why I'm mentioning it, but anyway, the exhaust on this bike is oddly low. Like, cannot hear it at all. And I will be honest, it sounds actually nice. Like, when you do hear it, like when I rev it out to like 6,000, you do hear it, and it is a nice sound, but it is so quiet. Every stock exhaust I've gotten on all the 5 bikes that I've owned previously, they're quiet, but you can still hear them. Like I never really had as much of a hard time as I did with this one. Now, some of drivers not noticing me could be because I'm so low, I'm much lower than other bikes, but I think it's just such a muffled, kind of like a buffeted sound coming from these twin pipes. And I know there's like different emissions regulations coming out, so maybe as part of that, I don't know. And either way, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get an exhaust for this bike. That's just what it's gonna be. But it's of note, this exhaust, don't be deterred by the exhaust, by the way. If you're like looking at bikes and you hear it and you're like, I don't want it. The bike is wonderful, guys. The bike is so worth it if you want a cruiser, if you want a sporty cruiser, or if you're transitioning over to something a little tamer, but you don't really want to get rid of the sportiness of your sport bike or your naked bike, whatever you're riding. This is a great bike. It's a wonderful option, definitely sporty. It checks all the boxes. Don't be deterred. Wow, that was a little quick. Don't be deterred by the exhaust. Not that anybody is, but it does not sound how it feels. This bike feels so amazing. Oh. One more, guys. One more thing. So from all the reviews I've seen, right, everybody talks about the brakes, right, and the front brakes. Everyone's surprised. It's like, why is there only a single disc? There should be 2 discs for a bike of this size and of this weight, and I kind of agree with that. But I'd be okay if the front was super responsive. But this front brake, to me, is really not responsive at all. Now, part of that is me coming from my Street Triple, which is like a premium Brembo, like what I don't remember. It's like the best front brake you can have. The master cylinder is like super special or something. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy again, but all I know is everybody writes about this thing, and I didn't really appreciate it until I rode this bike. And granted, they're totally different bikes, but that brake, that front brake on my Triple is so responsive, and it gives you so much feedback. You know exactly where you're at. In contrast to this, which is kind of like, you don't really know where you're at. It's like either on or off. You have to squeeze super hard to get it to react. Not that you're trying to solely front brake, but like, I know that the front brake is supposed to be a majority of your stopping power, and like that is not the case with this bike. It's in fact the rear brake that I use the most frequently, which is cool in the city because it's low speed stuff anyway. But front brake could be a little bit better on this, I think. Drop into the comments below, do you think that or not? If you have this bike, let me know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I got a baby hand and I just don't know how to squeeze the brake. Who knows? But that's another thing that stuck out to me, because I was genuinely surprised at how much, you know, effort I had to exert to feel the front brake bite on. Oh my god, Traffic City. Look at this, guys. This is terrible. Although you do get to see how maneuverable this bike is. Ow. How maneuverable this bike is with the lack of suspension, my friends. Ooh. Yeah, top 3 things that I like about the... Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that little 3-wheel action. My guy. Top 3 things I like about this bike. The fact that it can jump between cruiser and sporty so quickly and feel good at doing both. That's really cool to me. Really love that. I think the seating position, once I get a different seat on it, I want to get like a step seat. Once I get a different seat, the bike is super comfortable. My legs, I'm a short guy. I was kind of fearful that the being stretched out that far would be really weird to me. It's not. Perfect seating position for me. Love it. Got somebody behind me. Love the height of the handlebars. Perfect for me. Very relaxing and never feel like I'm stressing. And then I love how flickable the bike is. That's the other thing, is that I don't feel like I'm on this big mammoth of a machine. Certainly is bigger and more substantial than my Triple, but I don't feel like I'm on some massive bagger, which I'm not, but it still feels sporty enough. That exhaust sounds great. And that, in fact, well, I'll leave that. Leave that for another video. Yeah, guys, I've come around more to this cruiser lifestyle than I thought I would. I really enjoy being able to just like get around the city, be relaxed, park this places that I couldn't leave my sport bike. Sport bike you can't leave on the street, not in New York. This still can be stolen, absolutely, but I don't know. I feel a little safer. Like when I'm just going into a store for 5 minutes, I don't feel as paranoid. Still lock it, regardless of where I am, but I don't know. It's nice to be a little more free. My triple was rough. It was like every place I went, I had to like park in front of the window where I was going. Then I had to like know what I was gonna go by. There's no way to live, you know. And in other states, I guess you may not have to live that way, but in New York, it is what it is, guys. I made a whole video about it. Woo! That was 4,600. It's not even halfway. This guy looks so cool, looks so cool. Where am I going today? I don't even know. Oh. Jesus. Well, someone had a rough day. I hope they're okay. Yeah, I will say the contrast between this and my bike, I've said this in other videos, it takes me a minute, since I have both and I'm like going in between the two, it takes a minute to like snap into the mindset of the other bike. I feel like I'm bipolar. I'm like, okay, today I'm super attentive, I'm super like on point, gonna be all technical today, try to get it in the rev range, keep it there for as long as I can, and then I get on this and I'm like, just chill out, just enjoy. The clutch is a little heavier, so I gotta kind of plan where I'm stopping and how I'm stopping. It's funny how that works. Engine braking is really nice on this. It feels good. Oh my god. This fucking turned left a little bit. Jesus. Terrible. Terrible exhaust, too. I guess I'll just go home. Yeah, overall thoughts on this bike, guys. Total great bridge to cruiser world. I'm sure at some point I want a big bagger. I couldn't be more pleased with having it as an addition to my quote-unquote garage of bikes. Now I have two bikes. I can't really find anything wrong in terms of how it rides. Like it's very smooth, it's very precise, everything is crisp, everything's deliberate, good amount of power. Like I said, you can rev it out, but you can also chill with it. It's just fun. It doesn't feel too cumbersome. Like the only thing are those small things, which is like different shocks, different mirrors. It's all stuff you can fix, and you should, as an owner, fix on your own. You know, front brake I think could be a little better, and then that indicator, the low gas indicator, would be absolutely wonderful. That's the only thing, guys. Out of all this bike, I don't want rider modes. I don't want any other shit. I just want to know how many miles roughly I have. Or even the bar thing, where there's like indicators of like how many bars out of 4 you have of gas. That's fine, I'll take that, but none of that. So yeah, only thing I got. Oh, it's hot. It's hot, it's hot. Feels really good to get that first service out of the way. I feel like the leash has been taken off, you know? And it'll also feel good if and when I get an exhaust for this bike. It'll feel like the leash is off in another way. Home sweet home. Back to the church. I don't live at the church, guys. I said this in the last video. I don't live in a church. I just like to stop there. is open. Let's go. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Looks better from this side, guys. All right. 2023 Indian Scout Rogue. This is the Icon Edition. I think it's just a colorway. It's in like copper metallic copper, something like that. Lovely bike, guys. Is it good for a beginner? I don't know. It's a lot of power. I think it's manageable enough. Seat height is good. Throttle response is not too quick, not too choppy. So I think it'd be all right as a first bike if you're fully mature, if you're older, you know. Like I don't know. This is one of those things. I look back at some of my other bikes. Consequently, after getting on my triple again after this, in no way, shape, or form is that bike a beginner bike. No way. This video is not about that bike, but I just wanted to clarify that. I've had some revelations about that statement I made. This bike, I think, maybe, potentially could be, but I think you're better off with something else. Start with the Rebel. The Honda Rebel would be a great beginner bike if you want to get into cruisers. Quickly size up to this when and if and when you're ready. Is this a good commuter bike? Yeah, I'd have to say I think it is. I navigate through the city with this just fine, comfortably, and actually very nimbly, so absolutely, it's a great commuter bike. Is this a good bike to ride two up on? As you can see, I have a seat on it. Yes and no, it is not comfortable for a tremendously long trip for a passenger. For a backpack, I would say probably not. But you know what? We're going to do a test on this. My girlfriend's going to come with me. We're going to do a couple 100 miles, and we're going to see how she feels. She might hate me. Really, you need something on the back, a backrest. So I'm going to work on getting a sissy bar on back there. But I think in between, yes and no, be smart about it. Don't go on a cross-country trip with somebody on this bike. Absolutely not. Don't go on an interstate ride with somebody on the back of this. I don't think that's a good idea. What other question might be asked? Is it quick? Yes, I've answered that like 20 times. Yeah. Overall, guys, I'm a fan. I like this bike a lot. I think it looks great. It rides great. That's really all you need to know, and it makes you feel a certain type of way. Once you wrap your head around the cruiser thing, it makes you feel badass, it makes you feel good, and you can take lovely rides on days like today. You can really enjoy it. What's up, Harley bro? A little hurly-durly. Anyway, guys, that's my first impressions of this Indian Scout Rogue. I'll be doing more videos in the future. I'll probably do a 6-month check-in, just like I did with my Street Triple. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the bike, guys. I'm going to get back on it, go pick up my girlfriend. We're going to do something fun today. Or maybe I'll go park and we'll take the dog out. Who knows? Sky's the limit, guys. Beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.